So you touched on before about the why for people in property development, and it's an excellent question because property development is not for the faint-hearted. It's not easy. And it's important that you get very clear on your purpose or your reason for wanting to get into it in the first place.
Yeah. So I agreed it's not easy, but it is within reach. And that's a really key point. We're trying to put a little bit of reality around some of this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hype when you go to see a lot of other courses out there that, you're going to become these get rich quick. And I can assure you that getting rich is not about getting quick. No. It is definitely a process. Yes. And if you follow the process, then it will eventuate. But it's hard work.
Yeah, and that's one of the things actually that I did a live earlier this week. We had a group coaching session as part of the program, to a group coaching session, and I was that moved by what unfolded in the group coaching session that I did a live on trusting the process. One of the things is that in order to be successful in property development or business or relationships or health and wellness, there is a process that you need to follow. You need to keep going through, being determined, being patient. That's how you're successful.
Yeah, so more than a process, a formula.
A property development formula.
Formula.
Touche. So, but it's a process, and you need to constantly just keep edging yourself closer to where you want to get to. The challenge is that this thing gets in the way, and we start to sell ourselves a whole lot of stories. And you might have a formula that you're following, but then early on, you won't be having the success that you thought, and then this will start to tell you a whole range of stories, as in you're not good enough, it's not for you, you can't find the deal that you were looking for, etc. And it's how do you constantly work through that? That's the key.
Yeah, correct. And I guess rounding out that conversation, that call that we had the other night, that was, and I agree with Tony, it was quite moving because it was the culmination of a perfect storm, I think, where the sheer number of people who were announcing deals at the same time, all within that one, I guess, hour and a half long session.
Correct.
I think we had six people announcing deals that, some of them were on the first intake of the course, some of them on the second intake of the course. But that little environment that we've created is becoming a little bit of a breeding ground.
Oh, look, it is. And the thing that I like about it is that we've commented before that sometimes you'll have someone who's up and someone who's down. And the person who's up will drag up the person who's down. And then conversely, the next month, you could have the opposite. The person who was down is now up and the person who's up is now down. And by having that group environment, that helps bring everybody up. It's not just about the people who are having the success. It's also for those that haven't got a deal yet to know that it's possible, to know that I started a program alongside someone else. We both started from the same position. Someone's had a little more success than I have to date. That's cool. Everyone's story is very different, but it's possible that this stuff works. And the thing that, there was a few people in particular that had been there since July of last year, and I know that they have gone through some highs, but plenty of lows. And it's great to see that they've been able to work through those lows. Again, when you stick with something long enough and just follow the steps, then you will be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And you touched on it before, but I'll paraphrase it a little bit differently, that a rising tide lifts all boats.
There you go.
Right? And when one or two are starting to get success, then everyone else starts to believe that they can actually do that, and they start to try a little bit harder. And all of a sudden they're getting success, which then drags the next person through. And it was really powerful. And I'm hoping that we can experience that level again, but
we will. Let's make it happen.
Absolutely.
Let's make it happen. That's important. So one of the other key things with mindset is around the setting of goals. Rob, you touched on it before. And the clearer you can be on what it is that you want, the easier it is to know whether you're on or off track. So I'd encourage you, if you're listening, to get clear on the goals that you set for yourself. I mean, as Rob mentioned, we do that in the 2-day program. Regardless of if you come to that or not, get clear on whatever your goals are, not just, hey, I want to be a property developer, but what does that look like specifically? What type of strategy, how much money do I want to earn, by when, all these types of things. And then once you're clear on, what that end point is, and by end point, I mean, it could be 6 months, 9 months, 12 months in advance. What is that end point? And then work backwards from them to create yourself a plan to ensure that you get there. Because I firmly believe that you can create anything that you want in your life, in your business. You just need to be clear on what that is. And the problem is that a lot of people aren't clear on that. And so when you aim at nothing, what do you get? You get nothing, right? So get clear on what you want, and then you reverse engineer from that point to come up with an action plan, some milestones, some tasks that ensure that you can get there.
Yeah, and that action plan is one of the keys to doing it. Making sure you've actually got milestones along the way to measure, not to measure your success, but to measure how far you've actually come, so you can actually start to reward yourself as you go. Your
progress, and you that's key. You want to reward yourself, celebrate small wins along the way, because we all love positive reinforcement. And it could be a small win, as in, you want to call 20 agents in a week, right? Because first and foremost, you need to acquire a property. So you want to call 20 agents. Call your 20 agents and have a little celebration. That celebration doesn't mean go to the Bahamas. That celebration means go to your favorite coffee shop and have a latte. And as you're sipping on your latte, recognize that you're having that latte because you called the 20 agents. Conversely, there's a D word there, which is called discipline. And that is that if you didn't call the 20 agents, you don't get to have the latte.
Yeah. So my favorite way of utilizing that very thing is to make sure that all of us have something which is a nasty habit. We like to binge watch a TV show, or we like to, eat a box of chocolate, or there's something that we do that we know that's a little bit naughty. So if we turn that something a little bit naughty into a reward, to say, well, I can do that little naughty thing if I've done all this good stuff first, and then you don't feel as bad.
However, the majority of people do it reverse. What they'll do is they'll binge watch the TV. They'll put off the doing of the property development research, and they'll say, I'll get to that tomorrow. And of course, tomorrow never comes. And so again, it's the D word, the discipline word of saying, you know what? I'm going to do my property development research. I'm going to get into Price Finder. I'm going to grind it out. I'm going to work out the owners' names of various properties that are within my target strategy, etc. And then I'm going to have the reward. So you've just got to get those right. But as I said, the majority of people, sadly, take the reward first and don't actually then do the action that's required.
And when we talk about skills within the program, one of the many things that I say is it's not what you do, it's the order that you do it, which is directly applied here. Correct. Which is you can still do those bad things, but if you do it in the right order, it's actually reinforcing good behavior.
Sure does. It sure does. So one of the other key things from mindset, Rob, is all around overcoming fear. And I know that during the weekend, I tongue-in-cheek say that in order to be successful in property development, you have to pull the trigger at some stage. You have to pull the trigger and get that first property. It may be under option, or you may purchase it outright. Either way, you have to progress through. And I also talk about...
Excuse me, folks.
No, you're right. So whilst he's doing that, I also talk about gates. And what I mean by gates is that you've got your end goal, and between where you are and your end goal, what are you doing? Between where...
I'm hiding. People don't need to see that.
No, but I did. Between your end goal and where you are, there's a whole range of fearful moments that you have to crash through, and I call them gates. And so you'll come to a fearful moment, and you can either crash through that fearful moment, that gate, or alternatively you can let it beat you, and at which point then your goal didn't mean that much to you in the first place. And so you have to recognize that you've got to keep going through those, but when you go through them, then you come out the other side. How often do you get worked up about doing something, and then you do it, and you look back and you go, well, that wasn't that bad. No. It wasn't as bad as I sort of played it out in my mind. And it happens all too often where, we play out all these scenarios in our mind, and yet we go and do them. We go, well, actually, it wasn't so bad.
No, it happens all the time.
All the time, right? And so it's all about being very mindful. It's also recognizing that I need to go through this gate in order to step a little bit closer to Hello, Min. I've got
Hi, Min, and also Rachel. How are you?
Alex Woods is there as well. Hello, Alex. It was great to catch up yesterday at the meetup. But you've got to go through these fearful moments. You come out the other side. Look, we're only born with two fears, and it's a fear of loud noises and a fear of falling. Every other fear that we have acquired through education, through our parents, through our experiences, over many, many years. And so if you've learnt these fears, then you can unlearn these fears. Fear is designed to keep you safe in dangerous situations. You may be, getting attacked or about to swim with sharks or whatever it is. That's danger. Fear, a fear of not talking to an agent, a fear of putting in a low offer. You're not going to get hurt by those things,
no.
Right? And you need to keep doing those. You make your money when you buy in property, and you want to keep putting in those low offers. And the more that you put in low offers, then the more that you get comfortable with putting in low offers. Sure, you might have an agent, say a few curse words to you, but hey, that's all part of it. Your goal is to secure the property for the right amount of money so that you can make the profit that you've got for yourself. So you just have to lean into that. I know that a few people are fearful of having those conversations with agents. You got to go and speak to agents. Agents are your gateway to getting a property. Again, your goal is to ensure that you secure the property. That's your end goal. And so in between your end goal and you, if it means you've got to talk to agents, well, guess what? You've got to talk to agents. And I'll guarantee you that the first conversation that you have, you will fumble, you will bumble, you'll mess it up, you'll make heaps of mistakes. But here's the thing, you'll learn from that. Yeah. You'll learn heaps from that, and your second conversation will be better than your first, your third conversation will be better than your second, and so on and so forth. That you just got to keep doing it.
Yeah.